Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the Talking Basketball podcast. I am Mark. And that's right, that's Paul. He hasn't made it into the studio today. He's swanning himself off in Oz and decided, you know what? I'm just going to take the day off. I think he's a bit jet lagged today, so what we're going to do is we're going to give him a call. So let's see how this works today. It could all go horribly wrong.
Hello.
Oh, look who it is. Nice of you to join us.
Are you doing a podcast, are you?
Yes, I am.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. Are you in bed, or have you actually made it downstairs? Are you sort of, human?
No, I'm in bed. Apologies for not being in the studio.
Well, I'm kind of glad you. Well, hang on, you're all right. Yeah, we'll skate past that horrific image.
Have you still got the beeping on the on your mixing desk thing?
I will have a check. Let me have a little look. See. Well, oh no, it's just going to be some flagrant abuse. Yes,
aimed towards the sick person on the plane that was coughing and spluttering.
Well, I can give you
on the plane.
What I'll do is, I did have it on here, but I changed it. So what we can do is you can have an honorary one of them instead. So every time you're going to say something that's a bit inappropriate, I'll stick one of them in there instead.
Okay. Well, can I say a quick shout out to the person on the plane who was ill?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, person who's ill on the plane, go f*** yourself. You'll have to beep that out. Everyone else, I'm swishing you a happy new year.
Swishing us, are you?
Swishing you a happy new year.
So, basically, from what I can understand, Paul has come back from holiday and picked up a nice bug on the aeroplane, which, we all do that occasionally, don't we? It's who can spread the cold around the fastest. How close was How close was the ill person to your proximity?
Oh, like 4 or 5 chairs to my right. And you sat on the plane and they were just like, and just like, oh my God, put them in quarantine now. Just chuck them off.
Just for all of our pleasure, how long a flight was that?
That one wasn't too bad. That one was, I think, 7.5 hours, and that was literally after sitting in an airport for 3 hours after a 13.5-hour flight.
Well, listen, we've all seen World War Z. Well, most of us have. So we know how quickly that virus spreads. We've all gone through the pandemic. We know it's, weirdly, many years ago, I did a whole study on how a cold goes around an airplane. Fun fact. And it turns out it's a little bit more like, what's that film, Final Destination? We're talking about all the great ones in planes here, aren't we? Where it's not actually like the person who's next to you, because it goes up into the vents and then it'll get dispersed. Someone like 4 seats down and 7 seats across or something, because that's how the airflow sort of works in a plane. So if the person could be right next to you, yeah, you're probably going to get it. But if they're like 2 or 3 seats away, it'll actually infect someone maybe further away from you sometimes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Well,
at least spread that. Yeah, plenty of time to spread that around.
That's where I am, and I know we were talking about doing the.
No, there's something even more important than that first. What did you eat on the plane?
I think it's really weird. I think it was like Christmas dinner. No one is interested in what I ate on the plane, but it was like a Christmas dinner. It was like turkey and potatoes, which I thought was quite bizarre.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I guess they had load left over from Christmas. They just went, yeah, this is Christmas themed.
Yeah, but I always take snacks on planes. I take a rucksack full of snacks.
What is your go-to snack on a plane?
Chocolate crisp, done.
Chocolate crisps?
No, not chocolate crisp. Chocolate / crisps / Pepsi.
Wow. Okay. So you went
we're advertising Pepsi now.
But you are, yeah. PepsiCo, get hold of us. send Paul a free pizza. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, but I am back. I
You
am
are back.
and
Just feeling like a car crash. Well, do you know what?
Bit.
You've missed a few good games in the BBL. There's some really tight ones, especially this last week.
It's over.
Really?
I kind of was off. I was kind of out the matrix for like 5 days, and I came back, looked at the league, and was like, "Oh, it's done." Like, I saw Caledonia and Phoenix picked up a couple of losses there, and it was like, "Oh, geez, the league is done." You know,
well,
I go back to just mark the trophy. It's done.
To give everyone the quick rundown, the order is Lions, Caledonia, Cheshire, then Eagles, Sheffield Sharks, Bristol Flyers, Leicester, Surrey, Manchester, and Plymouth at the bottom. And although London do have like 3 games in hand above almost everyone except I think Manchester, they've got 2 games over them. So they do have a few more games. Points different wise, you're looking like 44 over 26. And actually, you said a comment when I phoned you on the way back, and you said, I looked at the league, and I think it was Sky that you said that you saw it on, and they just, the way that they show it, it was like London Lions have 44 points, and then
they show games played and points. They don't show the wins.
No, and literally it was like Caledonia, the next nearest one's on 26. You go, it makes it look like such a gulf between. You just sort of think, what's the point? Whereas what's interesting, and we've got to be fair to the other teams. Leicester Riders points are on 20 and they're in 7th. Caledonia are 26 points and they're in 2nd. So those 5 places, they are going to be chopping and changing. There's a few people on 22. Those places are going to be changing, and we've seen a little bit of action while you've been away over the last sort of 10, 12 days.
Hey, look, I did notice, saw William Lee's stat for the Manchester Giants. He looked like he's had a great week 16 by the looks of it.
Yeah, he has. And do you know what? I will say this. There's been 2 games, and they're very, very sort of almost in quick succession. But it was Caledonia versus the Lions, and that was at the very end of December. And Surrey Scorchers against the Lions. It's the first day of the new year. Those games, both of them, because the Lions have been hit by quite a lot of injuries, those games, the Lions had to claw them back to win them. They were, up to the first half, first 3 quarters, the Caledonia and Surrey were ahead. And Lions had to find some depth. And, you've got to give credit to the team. It shows their class. They found depth, even with injuries, and still overcame.
Well, I think that's a trend with the Lions, because...
Yeah.
Every game I see, if you look at it, they tend to go down early.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Australia and there was 2 games that I talked about, they came back from behind in the 4th quarter to win.
Yeah.
And then after that podcast went out, like the next day they were at home to Europe. Exact same thing happened. They came back from behind to win that one. And then you got these like last 2 games. So I don't know if it's that they just don't start. I'm gonna really concentrate on that. I don't know if it's that they don't start well, or teams are pumped up for them because they've got that gulf.
Maybe that's it. Maybe the other teams are thinking, we have to get the hard start because they get a slow start. So we have to get the hard start. So almost London, if they know that they get a slow start, maybe they manage that and say, hey, let's let them have a little flyer. Obviously, you don't want to let people have points, but at the same time, you go, we know we've got plenty in the tank. We can put our foot down. But on saying that, when you look at the games, it was, Surrey Scorchers are in sort of 7th, 8th position. The Lions only beat them by 5. And they're getting these games because they're very injury ridden. And you think, oh, that's tough. Oh, that's tough. And really, really, really interesting to see that there is that pattern forming. So I'm glad you picked up on that, despite your sitting on a beach.
Yeah, well, can I highlight something else? Seeing as I've got 0 filter today, I was literally up at like 4:30 the other night, and I was up about like wide awake, and I put Sky Sports on. I was watching it. And that's when I saw the league. I went, oh, right, they just do it, put it a certain way. And I was like, I think they should maybe do it a bit similar to the football, but it doesn't matter. But what I did notice was I sat there and listened to Sky Sports News talk about darts for like freaking 20 minutes. And then I get in my car and I listen to darts for 20 minutes. I don't know if it's like some world championship or something at the moment. Darts, all they've been talking about is darts on the radio and in all the newspapers and stuff. And I get it's the world championships. I mean, look, I'm not being harsh on people who like darts. It looks like good fun, but it's not really a sport, is it? Not really. You don't break a sweat. But it's like, why aren't you getting basketball being talked about as much as freaking darts? Like, this really irritates me when the only thing you'll hear on, say, BBC radio or whatever radio station is about basketball will be when someone is NBA champion. You'll say, oh, and, the Denver Nuggets beat, Milwaukee Bucks in however games it was, become champion. Someone's got MVP. That is their year's journalism in basketball.
It is, yeah.
And when I'm listening to 20 minutes of darts on Sky Sports News, I was just like, I could be wrong here. I've got no facts to back me up, but I think basketball is a more popular sport than darts.
No, it is. Anyone can go look on Google now. It was between the second and fourth, and it bounces depending on what you look at. Most played game in the UK, and that's going through youth sports right up through the ranks. It's it's not a niche. You walk down the street and you'll see kids walking around with a ball just in their hand. They've got a basketball. But it's such an accessible sport. So many people play it.
But everywhere you go at the moment, it's just darts. I don't get it.
Look, Sky are paying for the rights
biased.
for it.
I know I'm biased.
Yeah, but we of course we're biased. But at the same time, Sky are paying for the rights for it. That's fine. I don't know why they don't do something with it. But at the same time...
Exactly. Like, how good are you that you go, yeah, we've got this great deal. We chuck it on YouTube. Oh, okay, well, anyone could do that.
So this is where we have to be... I will stick my neck out on this one and say this is where maybe they have to be, as the league, you put your business hat on and you say, we have a product. People are buying our product, so then our product goes back to our stakeholders who then make money. So we are always conscious that we have ultimately a product, and the product has to make money. So you have that one thing. If someone like Sky is buying in and some of these networks in America are buying in, great, because money's coming into the league, and that's putting more value in the product and eventually building it into a bigger product. Fantastic. But the people who are actually paying for the tickets and people who are actually paying and the people who are actually going to be watching it, what's the experience that they're getting? And that's where the gap seems to be. It's, we'll make these accessibilities, but no one's putting it out there. Now, this is not discredit, to the BBL League, the media team and stuff, because I think they do a brilliant job. And that was one thing, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the BBL, so for those who don't know, the BBL League is now paused for the championship. So what they do is between January and the end of January, it was all the month of January basically, it turns into the BBL Trophy. And what the BBL have done is they've changed their branding, and all their branding has got like orange in it. So it's an orange logo in social media, and there'll be orange flanks all around it. Whereas normally for the championship, it's all black with the BBL logo. And I think that is such a simple, brilliant idea. I think they've absolutely nailed that there, because it's such a distinctive colour. I had to double check. Am I on the right page here? Oh yeah, I am. Oh, that is BBL. Of course, because it's for the trophy. So fair play to them for doing that. Now, are you aware of what's going on with the cup, sir? Or the trophy, should I say?
Yeah, you have to be careful not to call it the cup. I think it's just changed. I am aware, but I don't have anything in front of me. Are you going to give everyone a rundown of
I will.
How it all works?
Yes, I will. So, but firstly, you raised a good point. So there was I believe, a cup, and they've binned that. That's gone now. It's just called the trophy.
Yeah, the replacement for that is the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And I want to say they're doing the All-Star game at the end of the season, but I could be wrong.
It was March time.
I like the fact that they're doing the cup around this time.
The trophy, sir. The trophy.
Sorry. Oh God, I've just had a go. Yeah, I just made the same mistake. Yeah, I like the fact that they do it mid-season.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, but look.
Can I just add something to this?
Yeah, go for it.
Something I picked up on what you said is that you said the difference between second and seventh was like what, 4 points or something.
Yeah. Oh no, 6 points. 6 points.
And
Caledonia have 26. Leicester have 20.
And if you look back through like the fixtures this season, we know teams like Surrey can beat London. You know, it's on any given day something might happen. Now I know these are group stages, so there is room for error. But what I like about the BBL Trophy coming up is everyone has a clean slate again, if you know what I mean.
They do.
And that's what I like about it. And where the teams are so close, it's just like, you only need someone to dent London's crown, and anyone can win it.
Yeah, look, London won the league last year. They didn't win the trophy, though, did they?
Yeah, I don't know when they went out, but yeah, I mean,
that was Caledonia.
I think we call it the shot, don't we?
Yeah, that was an amazing shot. And I bet Caledonia are missing him not playing this year. I think he's playing out in Europe now. But
just talking about Caledonia.
Yes.
I don't know if you picked up on this, but I'll do it next week. I'll talk about it next week. But they've actually, really oddly, we were talking about this maybe a month ago. I did get a message from someone that said, I wonder if they heard your podcast. And they're released, I think they're releasing or released their own tartan.
Yeah.
I saw it. It looks really cool. There's like a video that goes alongside it on the release. So but I'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that'd be cool. No, I've seen some pictures with people wearing stuff, but I didn't know it was a team tartan.
There's a Caledonia Gladiator tartan now.
Oh, that is awesome. You've got to get that, surely. But, I mean, look.
Yeah, maybe.
It is very, like you say, it is very interesting. So let's talk about the trophy then. The trophy is very, very simple. There's only 10 teams in the league. So what they've done is they've made a Group A and a Group B, 5 teams in each. Everyone plays each other once. So every team effectively has 4 games. And these games are played in the same, I won't say kind of the same scheduling, the same sort of format as the championship has been. So we've got a game on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when they usually play in the BBL, and they're doing the same thing. And each week you'll be playing games effectively. So for the next 3 weeks, you've got sort of, it's like a group stage. You'll have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 effectively over these next 3 weeks. The games are looking good. The actual groups themselves, you got Group A, which is Caledonia, Cheshire, Surrey, Sheffield, and Plymouth. So I'm not lie, that's pretty harsh for Plymouth, really. Like you said, they've still got a chance, but Caledonia and Cheshire are pretty solid teams to have in there. Group B, you've got London, Newcastle, Leicester, Bristol, and Manchester. And I think, correct if I'm wrong, I think Group B could be one of the more even things. You think there you've got London, Newcastle, Leicester. But Newcastle and Leicester, they couldn't do anything anytime. Bristol have had, they've been up in 3rd, and then they go back down to 6th, and they go back up again. So depending on injuries, depending on how they're playing. And Manchester, we've seen some great performances from some of the teams there. So I don't think London will have an easy ride in Group B, that's for sure.
Yeah, if someone can get a loss, especially if it's early, that's huge. But you know what? It would be great if London did a double for them as well.
Oh, it would. Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, it'd be great for the league. It'd be great to say, look, this is the best team. Incidentally, London Lions have actually signed a guy from the NBA, a guy called David Mweba. And he's a forward. He's played for like Chicago and all sorts. So I think he played like 200 odd games in the NBA. It's not like Oh, I've only been there for one season or something. So he's a pretty seasoned guy. Houston Rockets, Brooklyn, Cavaliers, Chicago, and the Lakers over 6 seasons. And they've just signed him. I'm guessing because obviously they've had a lot of injuries. And
I think you also have, I could be wrong, but I think you have, I don't know what the right word is. Fluid is probably the word I'd use for players, like, you know, from contracts and stuff. What I've heard, like,
people are moving to Europe.
They can just go straight away.
Yeah,
so
there is
you know,
definitely
if someone from Spain comes in, they're off.
I wonder, and I think you've raised a good point there, with the BBL, from what I've seen this year, that was one of the things I was thinking about for a wrap-up, was the BBL seems well positioned as like a gateway into places like Europe. Because some of the European teams, you know, they are huge teams, like huge teams in big, tough leagues. So what's easier, to come from a lower tier and work your way up that, or maybe come from an outside league and jump in? Well, if you're going to do that, the BBL could be a place to do it. And we're seeing some people who are taking contracts and then halfway through the season, they're going out to Europe, or their contract, they get moved on. We're seeing a lot of that at the moment. So I wonder if the BBL is just a very good feeder league, which is nothing wrong with
it. It's financials as well, isn't it?
It is.
Like, you're a player and you're on, I don't know, say 50 grand a year. I think that's probably a lot, maybe for some players, I don't know. But, and then someone comes on and says, look, we'll give you 100 grand a year. You're off, aren't you?
You got family, no question. If you can move, you do it. You do the best you can do for everyone. And if you're going to play more importantly, if you're going to play more basketball as well, because, you know, then you have that argument, don't you? Would you rather have £1 million be a season and be sat on the bench with the Lakers, or would you rather have 500 grand a year, be playing for someone like, I don't know, the Milwaukee Bucks or the Pacers, or let's go someone really small, someone terrible, Sacramento?
I think everyone's different, isn't it? I mean, you remember like what Mark Jackson said, like, he left the BBL to go and play in the NBL.
Exactly, because he wanted hands on. He wanted hands on ball. That was more important to him. And
I suppose there's a bit of, you know, I guess having, you know, your integrity and your belief of what you want and just following it, and, you know, rather than I'm just going to sit with the money kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, if you had a choice, you want to hit the game-winning shot, like that Caledonia shot we just talked about. You want to be the person hitting that shot to win a trophy or a championship. Every basketball player would dream of doing that, because that is just like, I want to hit that buzzer beater, bang. And sometimes you see people taking those 4 shots in games, which is just a bit like, it's mid-season.
I don't know why this just popped in my head. Do you know what I did once? I was playing in a game and I had that shot. It was amazing, but it was a layup and I missed it. It was a layup to win the game. It was a layup to win the game. It was tied, and I got around my man, got behind the basket, and was coming back, and it was kind of it wasn't a straight on layup. It was kind of a layup throwing behind me, and it kind of just rimmed out. But it was like, oh man, we beat him in overtime. But yeah, I don't know why that just popped in my head. Missed the layup. I think that's probably the only buzzer beat I've ever had.
Well, the main thing with this trophy is you have these teams, everyone plays each other, so there'll be, you know, each team plays 4 games. At the end of that, the top 2 teams from Group A and top 2 teams from Group B, they go to semi-finals, and then at the semi-finals, it's a knockout competition. So whoever wins then goes to the final.
It's like a Final Four weekend, right?
What it is, and what they do is on the Saturday is the double header. So you have both semi-finals on the Saturday, and then whoever wins, they're playing on Sunday in the final.
Nice.
And yeah, that's at the end of January. So what's really interesting is they've done it in season and they've stopped the championship. So the championship's on hold. None of these games are championship games. Now that brings me to my question for you. When we covered the in-season tournament for the NBA, they made things a double bubble, so to speak. This is an in-tournament game, but it also counts for the league.
Obviously, should they do that?
Wow. This is the perfect example of, you know, they've stopped the league now. I think with the NBA it's difficult because they've got so many games.
Got more teams. They got like 82 games in a season, so for them to add another 7 games maybe for 2 teams or whatever it is, is quite significant. So
what sticks
probably I like the way the BBL are doing it. They've kept it separate. I like that way. I do think there is an amazing opportunity that they've missed out on with the BBL Trophy.
What's that?
And that is, I like the whole setup. I think it sounds great.
But
Don't you think it would be amazing to have a knockout round on a couple of knockout rounds before, where teams from the NBL can challenge to be a wild card in?
Now they had that.
So
They
did, and you had teams like the Solent Kestrels beating big boys.
So
and
I went back to look at that because I knew you were going to bring it up. That was in the year of the pandemic. So that was the January 2020, February and March. That was when that particular thing with the Kestrel was. And it was Kestrels, I think it was Worthing, Kestrels and Worthing Thunder, I believe. And then there was a team from Ireland and another team from Scotland, I believe. Those were the 4 teams that were invited from the NBL or other leagues to come and join in that cup. And what happened to the Kestrels? They got to the final. And they lost in overtime. Yep, overtime.
Exactly. You know, the NBL teams, I've been following a couple of them, and it's just like, you never know. A one-off game, you never know what they could do. One team has a bad day, they have a good day, you never know.
But, and I'm going to put a giant but here, because they're not in the BBL, they're not part of that product. And the thing about this trophy is that someone like, let's be fair, you're looking at the bottom 3 teams, Plymouth, Manchester and Surrey. This is a good opportunity for them to get some silverware. Because, they've got Plymouth have got 6 points. They're not going to get anywhere near London on 44. They literally.
Imagine how amazing it would be if Pat Riot's lifted up the BBL trophy.
We get some dog biscuits and put them in the trophy. So Pat Riot.
That would be brilliant. Watching Pat Riot's lift that.
I mean, look, Surrey have had some great games this season. So have Manchester. It's just they just haven't fallen the right way. And any of those teams could win it, potentially. Like you say, just have an off day, someone has a good day, someone's in their flow state, and it's all going great. If you then said, let's add some other teams who aren't part of that league, you're taking the chance away from these guys, because as you mentioned, let's be fair, if teams could get relegated in this league, there might be some teams who are taking the place of Plymouth and Manchester from the NBL, and they probably would give some of the other teams a bit of a run for their money because they're an unknown entity.
Yeah, you're right. It is a BBL product. It's a pyramid of one. So if they opened it up, there's the chance that someone else could come in, and take something away.
Now I wonder. Now, bear in mind. Now maybe this is me being me, but who was the first team that they knocked out? The Kestrels knocked out.
I have no idea.
London Lions.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So when they knocked them, because they knocked them out, because you think, oh yeah,
they were like 7th in the league at the time, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
No, it's not against. This isn't a dig against London at all. By the way, this is just saying. So they knock them out, and then they knock out the next team. And then they play in the final. They play Cheshire, I think. You go. They didn't have the easy route through, and like we've mentioned this before, and we mentioned it in the in-season tournament about Lakers had the easy route. Some of the others didn't necessarily. They didn't have the easy route, and Kestrels came in and went, yeah. And that probably, if you're an owner of one of those BBL teams, you'd be sitting there going, who's invited this lot? Because they're ruining our party.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So, and at the end of the day, they're the ones with money invested. So
if someone is in the NBL has beaten a BBL team, they should be getting into the BBL.
Now,
I think what the BBL don't want to do is have teams come in and then leave like 2 years later because of the finances.
look,
But
Aaron Ray in Cheshire, I believe, he's a perfect example of that because he was, one of the NBL players, and he stepped up to BBL, and he's one of the league's best performers at the moment. He still is. He's very consistent, and a lot of the team look at him as a figurehead on his team, and he's in brackets an NBL player. Well, he's not, clearly. So maybe that's going to change the thought process. But yeah, so that's the NBA. That's the BBL Trophy anyway, and that's starting as of today. That's starting tonight, first game.
nice.
So that'd be a good one. But it is a shame really when we look at this, because you think, would it be different if the league was a bit closer? And there was actually I'm not sure, it was on social media somewhere, I saw a clip, but they were talking in one of the after shows about how does a team in the BBL go into this trophy process? Are you looking at this and putting more effort in or lesser effort in, or what is it?
I'm a firm believer that if you score more points than the opposition, you will win.
It's a good mentality to have.
You got to win your first game. That's what I'd say.
Okay, so
got to win your first game. You lose the first game, it's like, well, yeah, we saw that with the in-season tournament. But again, like what I said, this is fairly even. With London aren't starting games great, and they're coming back in the fourth quarter a lot. So I don't think they're going to walk this. But I could be wrong on that. But I think this is open, definitely for
Well, look, this is the first
7 teams
to get people frothing on this one. The first game's tonight, January the 4th. London Lions versus Newcastle Eagles. That's a good way to start it.
Where?
Copper Box.
Of course it is. Well, look, Newcastle almost stole a win. I want to say they were.
They choked.
5 minutes left, and they were like 12, 14 points up, something like that.
Yeah, they choked. They choked on that one.
Last time they were there.
They know they choked on that one as well. So they definitely know that they could do something there potentially. And look, at the end of the day, playing in a big arena has got to be a good feeling, if nothing else. But then
London are going to be getting to the semis. I can't see in that with the way they're playing at the moment, I cannot see that they're not going to be in the top 2 of their group. So, but
right.
Once you get past that, who knows?
But then
who knows?
But then tomorrow you've got a few games. So you've got, and this is by the way, Group B. So tomorrow you've got Leicester Riders and Bristol Flyers. Now that could be a close one because they're like 6th and 7th, and I'd like to see Bristol do well there. But maybe that's just a bit of favoritism there. Then the same, you've then got Newcastle playing Manchester Giants back home, so playing in Newcastle. Now, what's your thought on that? Because Newcastle are playing London tonight, and then tomorrow they're playing Manchester at home. That's a back-to-back.
That's a tough double header for them.
Yeah,
Manchester will be well up for that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're Manchester there, you're going to be running at them, aren't you? You're going to be absolutely running everything at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of waiting for Newcastle to click. It was a fairly new team that got brought together.
Yeah.
And they did start really gelling, and they went on that 7 winning streak, that 7-game winning streak at one point, and it was like, they've hit their winning. Here we go. They've all started to gel now. Who knows? I think London will claim that first win.
Yeah. Well, the only other game,
and I think Newcastle will claim against Manchester, but it'll be tight.
Well, the other game you got tomorrow is Caledonia versus Cheshire.
That's massive.
Exactly.
That's massive.
Where's
that?
That's in Caledonia. It's PlaySport.
Wow. I wonder how they determine who's home and who's away for these games.
I was guessing, could be wrong, that it would be whoever's highest in the league, but it seems to be that way. No, that's not true at all.
Because if you look at like the Group B fixtures in like London, because we were just talking about it, I wonder like if you looked at the team, if they were playing the two lower teams away, you would look at it and go, you got the two higher teams at home. It's a bit, I don't know if it's drawn or how they work that out, but
yeah, I don't know actually. That is a good question. They must have done a draw or something that hasn't been publicly announced, which, you know, maybe they could involve the people on that, or just something. I know they do it for football, and I'll be honest, I've never watched a draw in my life, even when they do the rookie announcements and stuff. Cup. No, even the rookie stuff and that, and they're saying we're going to do the draw for who's got that. It can get really boring. It's just like watching really boring bingo, isn't it? Like the next ball
it depends on who's on it. If you get someone like Rod Stewart drawing the numbers, he's always quite funny. He kind of reaches his arm up and then down, so he makes it a bit entertaining.
Rod Stewart.
Yeah, it's do look at it on YouTube. It's quite a famous thing that he does when he draws the numbers out.
Okay.
It'll put a smile on anyone who watches it. It'll put a smile on your face. Just put Rod Stewart FA Cup draw, and you'll see how he does it.
That is your nugget for the day. Rod Stewart picking the balls. Lovely. But honestly, you say that. So the next game for the Leicester versus Bristol is at Morningside. Then the next one for the Newcastle is back at home. So you go, what decided that London's first game was going to be home and Newcastle's was going to be away? I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a basis of where they are against the league, against each other in the league. I don't know, but either which way, Group B have got more games this week, and Group A have only got the 3. So just to round off what Group A games are, we've mentioned Caledonia, Cheshire. The next one's Surrey versus Sheffield. I think that'll be quite a nice game. Obviously, Surrey are quite close to us. I've actually liked watching Sheffield, although I hate their grey kit. But I know you like it.
I really like their grey kit.
I think I bet it looks nice up close, but on the TV, it just looks like we're watching a black and white telly. It misses something. I don't know what it is, but up close, I've seen some pictures and it looks great. But look, Surrey have had some great wins this season and pulled some really, really. They've got losses that are close. I know you mentioned it on a podcast a few weeks back. That some of these teams, you know, we look at the wins and the losses, but they're only losing by like 5 or 7 points. They're not getting decimated. And the final game is Plymouth versus Caledonia, and that's in Plymouth. So if anyone, dare I say, you know, Caledonia have been playing Cheshire tomorrow, and then on Sunday they're going to be playing in Plymouth. It might, or Saturday rather, it might give them a bit of a culture shock. I don't know. That's
well, look, anyone can. I think
they're going to the home of Pat Riot's, Paul.
It's a clean sheet. It's a clean sheet now. So that's the way all the teams are going to be looking at this. Like, look, here we go.
And that's exactly
the button's been reset.
That's exactly what one of the presenters said. Like, you know, everyone's on 0 at the moment. And we got to remember that.
Player? Okay.
Yeah, and it is. He's absolutely right.
I'm not sure who it was.
And I'm still not convinced by the green screen studio sort of thing. I don't know if I like that or not, because it just looks like a fake studio. You can tell, but it's trying to look like the ones like we see, where, you know, you've got Shaq and people on there. So
I think most of it is now, Mark. You look at Match of the Day. The classic Match of the Day, you look at that and that's a green screen other than the bit that's sat on.
Look, I like the fact they're standing up rather than just sat down and all chatting. I do like that aspect of it, definitely, but I just don't like the CGI. Just have a nice background or make something look a bit more interesting. I don't know, that's just me, but I think that should.
You're old school. You want them sat at a grey desk going Caledonia 88, Lions 94.
Yeah.
Is that how you want it?
Hell no. Hell no. But I do think they could actually just make a studio which is a basketball court and just be talking on the court while they're, you know, it just sounds really basic, but I just think the CGI stuff doesn't come across as what it looks like it's trying too hard. You don't have to. The content's good enough.
I think that entire thing could be elevated. If I'm honest, it's coming back from Australia and seeing the NBL over there and how their league is set up and how it runs and stuff, and the support that they've got in place, the sponsorship they've got in place, but then all that goes with that is the media side of things. And it's just like, if the BBL could get half of what they have, we would be like going, this is amazing.
Yeah, we're not giving away too much, but Paul did go to a game, and he's going to give a report on it. He went to a couple of games out there, and just when someone came around at halftime and gave you the stat sheet, you were like, "This is great."
No, that's every quarter. You get the box scores every quarter.
Yeah, you'd be well happy with that, wouldn't you? Just getting a little box score every now and again.
That's brilliant. Guy comes over, gives you the box score, and you're like, okay, awesome. You're looking at a certain player going, you're 1 for 10 threes.
I wonder.
That information is invaluable for, definitely for the coaches and stuff like that. But for the media, you're then commentating. This guy is 10% shooting at the moment. Like, you're focused on it then, and he goes to take a three, and you're like, oh, okay, like, should he be taking this shot?
Yeah, that is. I mean, we're going to be doing something, aren't we? It's sort of nice segue really to what we got coming up. Obviously, we mentioned that Australia and the shows over there.
Well, we got an Adelaide 36ers episode coming soon, and I would like to have done it this week, but look, I feel I need more energy to do it, and it deserves more energy. The hospitality that I had from that organisation was, absolutely amazing. I feel like, let's do that next week, that one, and I can give it the energy it deserves. But yeah, I can't sing enough of the praises of the setup that they've got over there.
Now you actually got me a hat, and the hat,
yes,
which I thought it made me chuckle. Yesterday,
are you wearing it now?
Yeah, but yesterday we put a post out about the old logos, and it had the 76ers logo on there. I was looking at it like, damn, Adelaide have literally taken the old 76ers logo and just made it a 36. It's so close. It is so close.
Maybe it was the other way around, Mark.
Some could argue.
Maybe it's the other way around.
I think Chuck and Dr. J might have other opinions on that, but yeah. Well, actually, Iverson rocked that one for a while, the 76ers. But yeah, we've got so many shows that we want to do lined up. But what I would say is, if you're listening to this and you've got this far, bless you, let us know. Drop us an email, ukbasketballpodcast@gmail.com, or go onto our socials. And we're getting something up on X and Twitter, and we're going to sort something out as a Facebook group if people think that's good. We might do a Discord channel. We're undecided yet. And of course, we've got Instagram as always. But drop us a message and let us know any sort of content and ideas you've got coming up. We've had a few emails so far, but we want more. We want more in the pot to plan out our year.
Yeah, send emails to Mark, because it'll well annoy him if he gets 1,000 emails.
Yeah, and I'll forward them all to Paul just so it can annoy him.
That would be funny. You go, I just got 10,000 emails come in this week. We're like, brilliant.
Except,
got to read every single one.
Yeah, I'm going to say except now. I do not want any more people sending emails saying that we make basketball kits for your team. I don't know how. Or CCTV. I don't know how clearer we can be. We are not a basketball team.
I get that all the time. Because you're a sports announcer for the Portsmouth Force, can you tell us if you're interested in CCTV? It's like, what has that got to do with being like, why would you think, yeah, let's go to the announcer?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
You love it. You want video monitors all around so you can look at the crowd.
Yeah. But what I would say to anyone listening now is there are some things coming up. We're definitely doing the Adelaide 36ers. We've talked about, maybe doing some NBA big teams or big moments. So like the Showtime Lakers and, the Dallas Mavericks championship, run, stuff like that.
Yep.
But we have also got some interviews. Now, I don't like saying the names.
No, can't say it. Can't say it. Don't do it.
I'm not going to say any names, but because we've had people that have, really everyone would know who they are, and then on the day they don't turn up or something comes up and they don't do it. So I don't really like saying names, but I have got some people coming in to be interviewed, or will do the whole international online thing, who are being interviewed. And I will go as far as say, Mark, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be shaking. I don't know how to talk to these people because they're like absolute superstars in my eyes. That's as far as I'll go.
Yeah,
I'm going to be. My hands will be shaking when I'm talking to them.
Yeah, when we were kids, and obviously John Sally and Rodman and the team came down, and you had those photos and stuff done. You were starstruck then. I think you'd be as starstruck with these guys coming in. So we're hoping to make it all happen, but we're looking for others. See. We are looking for others. So if you are a star as well, or you were a star, and you're listening, drop us a line if you want us to interview you, because we always welcome having a chat about if you were famous in Manchester Giants history, or famous in Newcastle Eagles, or you happen to run the team or be the head coach or anything like that. We'd love to have a chat with you, because there's so many great stories, and we've said off air a few times when we're interviewing people, it's sometimes they're the ones we personally enjoy the most.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I know when people listen to this, they have the music, so they don't really hear it the way we hear it in the studio. But when we're in the studio, when it's something exciting's going on, because you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Only us would feel that, but it's a bit like.
And it is a real studio
names, but
as
you know
well.
what I'm talking about. It
is a real studio, and people get a bit confused because they come in and go, "Oh, no, you have actually got a real booze," and it's like, "Yeah, we're not two guys in a shed." Although you're in bed, so
Well, I think 2024 will be amazing if we can get Pat Riots on.
Pat Riots. I mean, what would he say? Woof and grr?
That'd be great. Get Pat Riots in. I'll have a chat with Blue on Saturday and see if he'll come in.
Amazing.
Maybe even if it's just for some pictures.
To howl.
But I mean, I'm fairly confident with this one. But again, I don't. It's not certain until they turn up in the studio. But I'm fairly confident when I say we've got an ex-BBL player coming in the next episode. So like next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I'd say
we're going to keep
ex-BBL and possibly future BBL. He's still young.
Yeah.
Still very young.
So the good thing is that we've got, obviously with the BBL stuff that we're going to be doing for the next month, it's going to be basically all about the trophy, the BBL trophy, because the league's on stand, or the championship as they call it, is on standby. NBA wise, it's all just kicking along down the road. We're reporting the NBA stuff as and when it turns up, but to be honest, nothing really exciting happening. Yeah, there's been a couple of trades, but
what are you talking about? Like LeBron's 3, that was the 2. That was well exciting.
There's like,
I like the way that
there's 3 different camera angles, and every time you look at a different camera angle, you go,
yeah, and like the Laker fans or LeBron fans, they might maybe do a little Photoshop on that line, and then some people who are like huge Jordan fans, they would Photoshop it, so you don't know what you're actually looking at. But those, I'm assuming it's a 2 because those referees aren't getting the call wrong on the night with that much pressure, and they're seeing all the camera angles. I don't think they're getting that wrong, but who knows?
I mean, look, the main thing is the trade deadline, just for everyone who wants to know, is I think it's like the 8th of February, if I remember rightly. Got it in my notes here. February the 8th is the trade deadline for this period going into, the main end of the NBA. Because what everyone forgets is that when that in-season tournament kicked off, we were talking like week 6, week 7. of the NBA. It wasn't, we're still only sort of week 12, 13 into it. We're not even halfway through the NBA yet season. So some of these trades at the moment, they're all right, but there's bigger things going on. Obviously we saw James Harden go in November. We've just seen OJ Anunoby. He moved to the Knicks from the Raptors. The Raptors got RJ Bennett and Emmanuel Quickley. But the reason that's quite a big one is because obviously Raptors are quite keen on moving players on. And you've got Pascal Siakam, and he's obviously a ring holder. But he's going to be free agency. And Raptors, for historical purposes, if anyone doesn't know, they let Fred Van Fleet leave because his contract ran out and they didn't renew him. So he did become free agent, and then he just went to another team. So they got no money for him, and he was actually a reasonably valuable player. Same thing obviously happened with Brunson, with the Mavs. So teams are now thinking, well, we've got someone still in a contract. If we can trade them, we'll get something for them, and getting something for them is better than nothing. So everyone's eyeing up Siakam as to what's going on because the Raptors are clearly rebuilding, and Knicks obviously are in that we want to get people mode. So that's that's good. That's an interesting thing to watch, and some of the trades are going to be potentially interesting. Are Golden State going to blow up? Are they going to get rid of Chicago Bulls? Are going to get rid of Zach LaVine? I mean, he's been at Chicago a long time. He's not going to do a lot there.
I think if the Golden States blow it up this year, it would be nice because then we then do a dynasty show on them. That's kind of what I'm waiting for.
Please finish.
Can't really do a dynasty show until they blow it up.
So we basically want you to accept failure, and then we will.
No, I'd love them to
capitalise
win.
it.
I'd love them to win this year.
Really?
Win the whole thing. Yeah. Golden State, get in through the play-in or whatever it is, and then
really
win the whole damn thing. Get your number 5. Actually, if they do that, then they're going to run it for another year, aren't they?
No, 100%. If they did that, they bow. Done. They end on that high.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I hope they get another one.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people who could go somewhere. It's people like Jordan Poole when the Wizards have signed him. He's not that doing as great there as he was in Golden State, and also he's playing for Washington. Have the Wizards ever been good? Even when Jordan was on the team, they were crap. Although they did get near the playoffs, I think, at one point, but still. No one's ever really played for Washington and done well out of that. So,
Wow.
Well, I mean, look,
I do remember Jordan's first shot for the Wizards was a brick because I remember staying up
as an airball
and waiting to watch it. Was it an airball?
It was
I
the
remember
airball.
it was pretty like, oh wow, that's Jordan.
Yeah, we were sat in the lounge, and I made the joke saying it's going to be an airball, and it would throw up an airball, and he did, because at the time it was not thrown under a bus, but it was that lady Claire Balding, I believe, who was the lady who was tasked with doing the commentary, because
and she didn't know anything about the sport.
And because she does like the horse racing and everything, so she literally has she doesn't know anything about
that's
basketball.
really bad when you get people doing that. We're like, oh, and that is a 3-pointer.
Yeah,
and you're like, you really, or the way they talk is like, oh, and that is a 1-pointer. You think,
exactly.
Oh, come on, just get someone who at least knows what the sport is.
I genuinely,
Mark, your
feel
time management is so poor.
My time management.
You said this was going to be a 5-minute call.
Yeah,
and it is like 50 minutes or so.
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting. Well, if you weren't such a lazy sod, then we would have done this before. But
Yeah, don't forget to beep out that my love towards the person on the plane.
Well, I'm going to tell them that you told them to go f themselves. And
yeah. Oh, that was a good one. Do that.
Really? You want that? You want them to just go f themselves? All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, either which way, that brings us into this episode. And I reckon next one we're going to be doing, is the next one Adelaide or the one after?
It'll be next week at some point, won't it?
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. If you haven't listened to any of our episodes, go back and check them out. We've got 55 episodes out at the moment, which is quite staggering. Listen to us on any of our streaming services. We're all out there and everywhere. We're going to be more on YouTube in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. I have been Mark, and Paul, can you tell me about the badminton courts in Australia?
Oh, they don't have any. Well, I didn't see any. And the way I feel about at the moment, my enthusiasm for badminton is probably up there with the rest of the world's enthusiasm for that, in quotes, sport. Good night.